Hello, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see you. This is the next in our series of free webinars on A Course in Miracles based on my book, A Course in Miracles Made Easy. We're taking one chapter each month for about, almost 2 years. We're approaching the completion of our series. It's been a wonderful ride. Thank you for joining us. And as usual, we begin with a moment of dedication. And we say that this is just no ordinary hour, that this is a time when we can lift our consciousness above the cares and worries and distractions of the world, and we can drop into a quiet place in our hearts. We can free ourselves from that which is not love, and we take 1 hour out of our day to say, I affirm my spiritual being. I affirm that there's more to life than the eyes behold, and I am willing to be connected to my source. I'm not alone, I'm not abandoned. There's a very large community of spiritual beings, of which I am an intrinsic element. And so at this moment, I join with my peers, and I say, we are making a stand for well-being. We're making a stand for light. We're making a stand for love. And if you'd like to join me, whether you're watching live or to the recording, say out loud right where you are. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. And at any time, if you have a question, please type it to Nishank. Nishank, are you ACP or are you Nishank today?
Let me change. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. He's going to change it to ACP office, and he will read it to me at some point, and we'll get you going. Okay. So I want to start with something fun today. I'll tell you something that's very interesting. Let me put my screen up. So let's see. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a special added treat for your dedication to this program. Is my high school graduating class. You notice the hairdos are a little different than they are today. It's some bouffants. It's a period piece. So every year, the graduating class would go to Washington and they would take a tour, and they had a lot of chaperones, as you can see, and they would take the picture in front of the Capitol building. And I wasn't in that picture. I was Jewish. I was doing the Jewish religion, but everybody else went. So I want to show you something very interesting, because this is a teaching in Course in Miracles. So that's the class. This was from my yearbook. Okay, so, oops. So look on the left side there, and you will see a little red circle with an arrow. And those are two guys named, named Arnie Goldstein on the right and Randy Meltzer on the left, two of my buddies, my senior graduating class. And now take a look at the same picture, and you will see there's those same two guys, Arnie Goldstein and Randy Meltzer on the right. And if you look at the whole picture, there they are, both people, same picture, both sides of the bleachers. So when the yearbook came out, a friend of mine said, hey, do you see Randy and Arnie are on both sides of the bleachers at the same time? I said, how'd they do that? He said, well, the camera is a very slow camera, and it starts on the left side, and it very slowly pans all the way across to get everybody in the picture. And Arnie and Randy knew this trick, so they knew that there's a period of time between when the camera photographed them on their left and when the camera photographed them on the right. So what they did was they jumped down behind the bleachers, and they ran faster than the camera, and then they jumped up on the bleachers, And there they were again. By the time the camera got to the right side, it caught them there. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So why would I possibly show you my graduation picture as part of A Course in Miracles? Well, friends, this is exactly how the ego works. We've been talking about how the ego operates for many moons now. And what happens is the ego will make a stand for something. It will say, oh, you need to lose some weight before you can be attractive. And then you say, okay, I'm gonna lose some weight. So you lose some weight, and then it runs around behind the bleachers. It runs it through the subconscious, and it shows up on the other side of your consciousness. It says, well, your weight really isn't the problem. It's your finances. If you can just get your finances together, you'll be okay. All right, let me work on my finances. And then while you're working on your finances, it runs behind the bleachers. It jumps up again and says, oh, it's not really finances. If you can just get your relationships together, find a soulmate, you'll be fine. So then you go out and you date it. So this is the story of what the ego does. If it can't trick you on one side, it will trick you on another side, and it's constantly running underneath the scenes to pop up. And it seems like it's a different problem, but it's not. Sorry, I got to fix something here. So what the Course in Miracles tells us is that there seem to be so many different problems, so many fires to put out, so many emergencies to handle. And the Course says there's not really a lot of different problems. There's just one. You think you're separate from God. You think you're living in a world of separate beings, walled off by separate bodies, that you have separate interests. If you can just line up with yourself as a divine being, all of your problems will disappear. And there's two lessons that are kind of back to back. They're a little package deal. One says, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. And it says, if you don't want to know what the really problem is, you can't really solve it. Then the next lesson is, let me recognize that the problem has been solved. How's the problem solved? You were never really separate from God. That the idea that we got split off from God was just a dream, a bad dream. The fall from the Garden of Eden, from grace, was not really a fall, it was an imaginary fall. And we're really still connected. So the Course says that if you want to be part of my graduating class, let me get this up here. What you want to be doing is teaching only love. And it says that we're always teaching by our being. It says that we think that a teacher is somebody who stands in front of a class and imparts information to students. And it doesn't mean you learned anything really. I heard a motto that the modern college education consists of a set of notes moving from the laptop of the professor to the laptops of the students without passing through the minds of anybody in between. And so after a while, you start to see that real communication is of the spirit. It's not verbal. And that's why the Course says, teach only love, for that is what you are. So there's two parts to this powerful lesson. One is that we're supposed to teach love, not fear, not resistance, not separation, not judgment. And two, that we can teach love because that's our nature. It's our true nature. And sometimes Dee and I watch these nature commentaries, nature documentaries, and you see, the little fawn is going along and the lion gets it, and then the gazelle is going along and the tiger gets it. And people say, oh, this is nature. Well, it's a kind of nature that doesn't match our true nature, because murder and resistance to fear, and fearing and resistance, it's a world that has been fabricated that's distant from who we really are. And even the animal world has the capacity to live at a higher nature. I saw a wonderful YouTube last night where it was a zoo, I think, and there was a duckling that had fallen into this big pond and it couldn't jump up over the bank. And so these two hippopotamuses, moved up to this little duckling and it was flapping up and down, up and down. It couldn't jump out. And his mother was waiting for it on the outside of the pond. And these very, very gently, these two humongous creatures that are supposed to be killers, they very gently put their nose under the duckling. And after 4 or 5 attempts, they flipped it up to get off the pond. So even in what's supposed to be brutal nature, there's an element of divine caring. And the Course wants us to know that that element of divine caring is who we really are. All that God is, we are. All that God is not, we are not. And anytime we talk about ourselves as anything other than divine, we're telling a big lie. I'm ADHD. Well, no, you're not. You may have ADHD tendencies, but who you are is far bigger than ADHD. I'm obsessive compulsive. Well, maybe your personality is like that, but is there more to you than your personality? Is there more to you than your diagnosis? We had a lady on the coaching room today, and she said she was really upset because the electric company was going to install a wireless smart meter in her apartment, and she had heard that this is very dangerous, electromagnetic vibrations. She was in a tizzy. So I said, do you believe that there's more to you than electromagnetic vibrations? Yes. Do you believe there's more to you than a smart meter? Yes. And I kind of worked her back to her true identity. She started out as somebody who's a victim of the electric company. And so she got to this point, she got really turned on. She said, I'm feeling electricity going through me. So I said, that's the kind of electric you want. And I said, that's good electric. I said, you're the electric company. I said, there's an electric company that's far bigger than the electric company that installs smart meters. I said, you have more power than they do. You're connected to source. They're connected to some waterfall somewhere. But you are connected to the source of the entire universe. How powerful is that? I said, oh, that's it. That's what I've been waiting for. That's why I asked you for help. It was cute. And the point here is that she ceased to identify herself as a victim of the electric company, and she became the big electric company. And you can say that about any disease, about any financial situation, about any legal situation, about any marital situation. That's a very, very small part of you. So, well, I got divorced. Well, who got divorced? Well, maybe your personality got divorced, but you couldn't be divorced. You're connected to the entire universe. So what we're going here for, friends, is a paradigm shift and an identity shift. And once you remember who you really are, everything that you're not becomes unimportant and it falls away. It has a very minor place in the cosmos. So let's go back and see what we want to say about this. So, Course says that we're all teachers of God. In fact, there are 3 books of the Course, as you know. One is a text, one is a workbook, one is the manual for teachers. Now you think, why would somebody who picks up the Course in Miracles for the first time have access to a manual for teachers? That seems a little advanced, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not a teacher. I just open up the first page of the Course. And I think in naming that 3rd book of the Course, the Manual for Teachers, there's a teaching in that itself. It says you're already a teacher of God. It says a teacher of God is anyone who chooses to be one. His qualifications consist solely in this. Somehow he has made a choice in which he did not see his interests as apart from someone else's. So at this moment, I dub thee. I take my little scepter here, my magic scepter, and I dub thee a teacher of God. Don't try to wiggle out of it. Don't try to make believe you're just a student. We're all students and we're all teachers. So what would happen if you accepted your role as a teacher of God? A lot of people come to me. A lot of people come to my coach training, other webinars, and say, oh, I want to do Reiki, I want to do massage, I want to do numerology, I want to do Enneagram, I want to teach, but who am I to teach? It's arrogant. And I say, no, it's more arrogant to not teach. Because God said you're a teacher of God, and you're arguing with God. That's arrogance. God says you're worthy. You say, I'm not worthy. That's arrogance. There's a play on Broadway many years ago, Your Arms Are Too Short to Box with God. Good title. So don't be denying who you are. don't play small. God says, get out there, do something. Don't just sit around and watch the news. You got to unteach God. After I was with my teacher, Hilda, for a couple of years, I went to ask her a question. And she said, how long you been with me, kid? And she called everybody kid. I said, about 2 years. She said, I think it's time you quit giving in and taking in and start giving out. She says, set up a little study group. Don't make yourself a guru, just facilitate the study group. And I did. And that was the first teaching I did pretty much, and grew into lots of other good things. So I wasn't a spiritual master. I was just me, but I had some things I wanted to share and people wanted to share them. So if you don't remember anything else from today's lecture, you're ready. Now, one of the ways that the ego jumps behind the bleachers, it says, oh, you need another degree, even though you have 5 already. Oh, you need another certification. Oh, you need to go to the master's level. Oh, you need to go to the PhD level. Oh, you need to go to you need to go to the graduate level. And that's crazy because you're qualified already. It doesn't mean you can't gain skills. It doesn't mean that you can't gain certifications. They help in certain ways. But what we're poking at here now is root unworthiness, fraud guilt, imposter anxiety, that nasty, vicious voice that says, oh, who are you to teach? Who are you to be paid for your helping people? That's arrogant, that's selfish, that's greedy, that's the devil talking. That's ego talking, that's illusion talking. So what if, as a result of today's program, you decided to put your massage practice out there, or offer dream analysis if you like to do that? Don't make believe you're the world's greatest master, but at least be honest about what you know and what you don't know, and teach what you know. And the fact is that you're a loving being seeking to bring more light to the planet Earth and relieve suffering. And if you relieve even a little bit of suffering, wow, that's big, because a lot of people are adding to suffering. I tell my coaches, if somebody walks out of your coaching session and they feel a little more relaxed, a little more relief, a little more hope, a little more, yes, I can do this. Wow, that's a really good coaching session. You've just relieved a human being's suffering. Can you put a price on that? No. We're all suffering in our own way. We can all be relieved of suffering. We can all help each other be relieved of suffering. George Eliot, the English novelist, said, what are we here for, if not to make each other's lives easier? So that's what I'm seeking to do in this program. And I know you have your own kinds of programs that are doing that in your own way. The Course goes on to say, when you have accepted your mission to extend peace, you will find peace. And it's not just missionaries or Catholics or Muslims who have a mission, or Jews. Your soul has a mission. Every soul has a mission, and that mission is to tap into our source, which is divine peace, and to radiate it out to the world. There's really nothing else you're supposed to be doing. I know you think you're supposed to get this degree and have this baby and move to this place and have this job and impress people and get to, not really. That's just a very ancillary element. Your mission is to be your divine self and walk around as the light of the world. Nothing else you're really supposed to be doing. Everything else is detail. And whether you're the light through being a midwife, seminar leader, or a van driver, or a diamond salesperson, that's just one of many ways through which the light comes to the world. And Jesus said, don't cover the light with a basket. Don't put judgments and fears and resistance over the light that you are. So one of the important elements of the way what I believe is that nobody needs to proselytize. Now, a lot of people think, well, if I was really a good teacher, I'd have thousands of people following me and I'd get more people to join my church and they'd sign up for my consciousness organization. No, not it. Proselytizing proceeds from insecurity. When you know who you are, you don't need more people to join your club. And lots of religions pride themselves on the number of converts they make and the number of people who show up at church on Sunday. It's really the law of attraction that proselytizes naturally. And so there's a beautiful phrase for the 12-step programs. And it goes like this. It says, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. The 12-step traditions. So this is AA and Narcotics Anonymous, all the 12-step groups. And they're not selling their program, they're not advertising it. They're saying, we want to walk our talk so compellingly that people who we can help will come to us and say, looks like you're doing pretty good. Can you help me too? Then you say, well, I go to this meeting. Would you like to come? And then they come and their life changes. You don't see AA members standing on a street corner saying, come to my meeting. That they let the natural, organic flow of the universe connect them with people who can be helped. They invite to a meeting, but they're not selling anything. They're not priding themselves on the number of converts. They're saying, if you like what I have, I went through alcoholism. That was a tough road. It was a high, steep climb. And if you're in trouble and you like some help, come on to my meeting. I invite you. I'm not going to drag you there. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to threaten you there. I'm not going to sell you there. This is something that's good, that's available. If you're ready, come on. And this, my friends, is the key to true marketing. And I know a lot of people who spent a lot of money on these very high-end marketing courses. Most of them go, I don't know if it's really worth it. So I have a philosophy about marketing. And I have videos and courses and trainings. So if you want to market yourself, what you do is you just make a statement about who you are and what you have to offer. And you say, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I think I can help you. If you're ready, come on. If not, that's cool too. So there's a big difference between get, and show. I'm showing you a model of what's available. And if it speaks to your soul, then I'm happy to share this with you. That feels a lot better. A lot of my coaches are really overwhelmed with marketing. Oh, it's so oppressive. I have to do all these things and build this platform. And I say, no. That's not how it works. You just do the things that are meaningful to you, and you show people where you are, and the right people, if you build it, they will come. Now, for me, for example, a lot of you know that at the beginning of the pandemic last April or so, I decided to do a 15-minute YouTube called A Daily Dose of Sanity. It was just a YouTube live, and I knew a lot of people would be home because they were in lockdown all over the world. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if people got 15 minutes of inspiration free each day? How fun is it? We're all home anyway, so let's do it. So I did a 15-minute show every day, and this went on for 2 months, and it was really a lot of fun. I loved it. I came up with different ideas every day, and I told stories, and more people started showing up. I started getting thousands of hits. And then we changed to weekly. It's still going on, weekly Wave of Sanity every Wednesday. And in the interim, my YouTube subscribers moved from 2,000 to 10,000, just about. That was not my intention. I did not do that in order to get subscribers. I did that because it was fun for me to do that. And I just put it out there as a free service. And I thought, well, if people enjoy it, great. If not, there's other things they can be doing. And I get lots of great notes and thank yous. And people say it's the highlight of the day or their week. Happy to continue to do it. So I was just making a statement of what I believe in and putting myself out there with no obligation for anybody to show up or pay. And a lot of people sign up for my paying programs too. That's pretty cool too. But the point is that it was not promotion, it was attraction. I let people know what I'm doing and they can decide if they want to come or not. And they like that a lot more than pressure. Nobody wants to be pressured into buying anything. Our dear Karen Drucker is on the call today. Maybe you want to put your video on. I don't know, Karen. I don't know if you're there. But I was just noticing Karen has some amazing YouTube videos. And she just made them out of love. Her songs with photos and moving videos. And she has thousands and thousands of people subscribing. And she just does it out of love. She shares from love. And so we're back to today's title. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Share from love. Don't share from obligation. Don't share from guilt. Don't share because your parents want you to go into that profession. Don't share because you went to college for that and now you think that's all you can do for the rest of your life. Share from love. And love will give you something wonderful to say every new day. Show me what to say. Show me what to do, Spirit. And the Course says every morning, ask, show me what to say, show me what to do, show me where to go. That's it. That's my prayer for this morning. Connect me with the right people who match me. If you have questions, you can type them to ACP office. Nishank, do we have anything thus far?
Yes, we have a couple of them.
Okay.
So one is, if we are divine consciousness, why is there a need to experience through various life forms, including human?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's different answers we could give. One is that God created an adventure and broke itself into a number of seeming parts so we could experience the universe from many different angles. Someone said that God is a flower that grew a nose to smell itself, meaning that as we stepped into awareness of the universe, we began to seek things in the universe that are uplifting and healing and remind us of who we really are. That's one answer. The other answer is no, we never really needed to come in the first place. And eventually we'll find out that we exist in spirit and the body was never necessary and this world was never necessary and the polarized universe was never necessary and it was never real. The Course would say that anything you see out there is an illusion. You made up a story. And one day when the time is right, the illusion will fold back into itself, and all there'll be was God. Years ago, I heard about a guy who had a mystical experience, and he said that it was as if the world was on a big shade, like a big window shade. There was a big picture of the world and the earth and all the activities and videos were going on. And he said, and then something clicked and the shade just flipped up and it rolled up. And all there was light, divine healing light. So that's another way of looking at it, that all the idea of we're in a form and we're born and we die and we have bodies and there's other bodies, it's just paintings on a shade. It's just video being projected on a shade. And then we finally accept the atonement, which is what the Course in Miracles talks about. And the shade kind of rolls up, it dissolves, and all we're left is light. My teacher used to say, resolve everything into light. Resolve everything into light. So my marital difficulty, resolve it into light. My bodily problem, resolve it into light. My financial problem, resolve it into light. Coronavirus, resolve it into light. Economic difficulties, resolve it into light. And so when you meditate, the world disappears. There's no world. When you drop into, I'm not talking about guided visualization or saying a mantra, so when you drop into the silence and you really hit the space, there's no world. And the world didn't disappear, you left it. And so it might as well not be there because you're not a part of it. So what was the question again? Let me see if I answered it all, Nishant. Let me see if there's any more.
Yes. You answered it all exactly in that way.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we have a very interesting question by an anonymous attendee, saying that I'm a very shy person, and do you think I will have to overcome my shyness in order to fulfill the mission of my soul?
Not necessarily. If you want to, you can. But if you don't want to, the shyness is at the personality level only. You know, some people would say that shyness is a positive thing. You could say, oh, shy people are humble. They're not trying to steal attention. They're not trying to become a big shot. They're not trying to boss other people around. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth, said Jesus. So what if you reinterpreted shyness as meekness? And I don't mean that negatively. I mean that as a very positive thing. So, you know, I'm not a big fan of self-improvement, even though some of my books are in self-improvement sections. You know, I'm a big fan of self-realization. And so if you think that you have to get rid of your shyness before you can be a whole person, that's an illusion. That's a trick. That's the ego running behind the bleachers. You know, how about loving your shyness? How about saying, well, I just prefer not to be out there. I prefer to be quiet. I prefer to sign in as anonymous rather than give my name on the webinar. That's just fine. Doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to talk to you as anonymous. And the funny thing, the paradox is anonymous, Mr. and Ms. Anonymous. The paradox is that when you can become comfortable with your shyness, you may gain some more confidence to put yourself out there if you want. Because what you resist expands and persists. So if you fight your shyness, you're going to stay shy. But if you say, okay, I'm shy, just how I am, then so that's just me. Like me or don't like me. And there are people who might be attracted to you because you're shy. That's kind of a winning quality to some people. So first of all, love your shyness. And if loving your shyness will lead to growing beyond it, you will. And if not, so be it. You're a happy, wonderful, lovely, shy person.
Thank you, Alan. I think that says a lot. You know, when you were speaking about the first part of the webinar, when you were talking about, it just reminded me of one single line that the Course says, which is the doctrine or the maxim of the ego is seek but never find. So when you were speaking about doing courses, about self-improvement, We're just doing one course after another, one mastery after another in order to seek something, but we never find it.
Yes, I think beautiful, Nishan. D.H. Lawrence said, those who go seeking for love only find their own lovelessness. Those who find their own love never have to seek for it. Anything else? Any other questions?
Yes, we have Karen who shared a link on the chat, which is of our latest video. If you want to either close with that or we can play it, it says "Love always finds a way." I think it's her latest song, or she shared it.
Oh, good. Okay. I think we'll close with that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No more questions. I think the teacher you were talking about is that Hilda Charlton. Is that the one you spoke about?
Hilda Charlton, yeah. And then speaking of teachers, I once went to a church service at Princeton University, and the guest minister was Sri Chinmoy, a beautiful Indian man who lived in New York and had a lot of disciples at the time. And he was to give the service. He lectured the sermon. And his lecture was this: he got up and he stood before the group and he went like this. And he was silent for 20 minutes. He just went into the silence. And everyone else went into the silence with him. One of the best sermons I've ever heard. It was a silent sermon because he was teaching with his being. Someone once said that human beings invented words to lie. Animals don't use words. And they don't lie either. One of the reasons people like to be around animals is they're completely honest. If they like you, they'll go to you. If they don't like you, they'll walk away from you. And it's that refreshing innocence that we all long for, isn't it? That we want to be so comfortable with ourselves that we can just be who we are. Let's see what else we have here. I'll take some more questions. The Course goes on to tell us that you will be appalled when you recognize your true purpose. That's something to think about, isn't it? And it says this in a chapter on relationships, special and holy relationships. And it says, when you realize what your relationship is really about, you know that word gobsmacked? You know that means like, woo. You will be stunned to realize that your real relationship has nothing to do with the relationship you thought you were getting into. So you thought you were getting a husband to take care of you and a wife to have sex with, and somebody to make babies with you, and somebody to be your cheerleader and join in your business with you, and somebody to travel with you, and somebody to watch movies with you, and somebody to listen to you and agree with you, and on and on. So we have this long, long list of what we think relationships are for. And the Course says, no, that's not it. So the Course says that the only purpose of your relationship is to recognize the God in each other, to bring forth your partner's light, and for them to bring forth your light, for you to meet at the level of soul. And how many babies you have, or how much income you have, or where you live, or whether they agree with you or not, is quite secondary to the idea that we are here to wake each other up. I'm love. Are you love? You're love. Am I love? And if you think about your marriage or your partnership or any kind of relationship, the greatest moments are the moments when you're just happy with each other just because of who you are. True love doesn't require anybody to do anything. And if you're waiting for your husband to take out the garbage to prove he loves you, or you're waiting for her to lose weight to prove that she loves you, you're going to wait a long, long time. Because once that happens, the ego will jump behind the bleachers and find something else that has to happen before you can love that person. And so in my relationship with D, it's getting simpler and simpler and simpler. There's all the kinds of things I thought we were supposed to do originally. But now it's just to enjoy being together, to see the best in each other. We quit trying to fix each other or prove each other. That's long past. I have no agenda for her to be any different. I think she accepts me for who I am. And we're getting closer. We're not perfect, but we're getting closer and closer to that. And so how good does it feel to be with somebody and just be yourself? And the more lies you have to tell in a relationship, the more image management you have to do, the more manipulation you have to do, the farther you've drifted from true love. So my teacher Hilda used to say that marriage is sandpaper. that you sandpaper off each other's rough edges until you smooth each other out. You're polishing each other's diamond. And then you can really be together. It's true love. True love, true love. Anything else? Anybody wants to write into Nishank? We'll take it. Nishank, anything else come in, or are we finished with our questions?
Yes, I think we have some amazing questions.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, so William asks, and William, you're not at all off topic here. He wonders if he can learn to heal through A Course in Miracles.
Yeah, that's a Course in Miracles is all about healing. That's all it's about. It's about healing the mind, releasing the mind from fear and reclaiming love. And once the mind is healed, everything lines up. Once the mind is healed, you gain true vision. You gain clear vision. You see other people as healed. You're not waiting for them to change. Even if they have a physical illness, you elevate your vision and you see them as whole and healed. Even if you think I should not be shy anymore, I should lose 10 pounds, I should make more money, I should have a soulmate, I should be married by this age. Of course, wants you to heal your mind of all those illusions, those debilitating fantasies that distract you from perfection now. Jesus was the greatest metaphysician of all time. People think he was a religious leader, and people made up a religion about him. He was a metaphysical teacher. He said, be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now that's the meditation of a lifetime, because see, a lot of people would interpret that as, well, become perfect. Quit picking your nose and try to get higher grades on your exam, and quit doing stuff that's bad and become perfect. No. He says, be perfect, not become. He says, be perfect now. Claim perfection now. And the Course asks it in this way. Why wait for heaven? Quit making all these delay tactics. The ego is the master at delay tactics. That's all it does, is delay happiness. When this happens, you'll be happy. When you get that, you'll be happy. When you get your gold watch, when you retire, then you'll be happy. All Arnie and Randy running behind the bleachers, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Be perfect now, even as your father, mother is perfect now. So can you heal through Course in Miracles? That's all the Course in Miracles is about. There's no other purpose to the Course in Miracles and healing. Now, if you're talking about physical healing, yes, physical healing is certainly possible. However, it's always preceded by mental healing. Unless you've healed your mind, the physical will not do much difference, because we're mental beings more than physical beings. So, yeah. That's the only answer to that question. Yeah. Okay, what else?
Lauren has an interesting question. Can you speak about never correct a brother? I struggle with this in situations where I think I have something to offer to a brother out of love, but it can also be seen as correcting a brother. And that's a really good one.
Yeah, it's a good question. It really depends on where you're coming from. The Course in Miracles is not at all about behavior. It's about motivation. It's about intention. And that's why it says teach only love. Come only from love. Don't come from guilt. Don't come from fear. Don't come from pushing. Come from love. And so if you have a judgment that there's something wrong with somebody and you're trying to fix that, that correction is not going to work because it's proceeding from judgment. Abraham Hicks talks a lot about this. He says, we fear what other people will do, then we make a million rules to stop them from doing what we don't want them to do because we're afraid, and it's really our own fear that we needed to deal with first. So changing somebody else's behavior is not in the Course in Miracles playbook. It would never ask you to attempt to change somebody else's behavior. So if your goal is to fix somebody else so you can feel better, forget it. That's absolutely, unequivocally, always going to backfire. That never works. If, however, you love someone and you believe that you can offer them something that can help them, maybe you'd like to try this course, would you like to come to gym with me, maybe you'd like to walk in the woods with me, feel like coming to yoga with me, maybe. That's different because you are providing a model for them to step into if they wish. And you have to be 100% unattached to whether or not they follow through. So they can never come to yoga with you and will still have to be okay. But, like I do a lot of coaching, I'll suggest a book, or you might want to try this homework or do this exercise. And it's never because there's something wrong with a person. They have to correct themselves. It's all because, well, here's something that I think you might like. This might make your life even better. And so let me offer it to you. And if it feels right, if it resonates, please accept. If not, I sure love you anyway, just as you are. So the word correction really, it's kind of a loaded word. It means you've judged that something is wrong, you want to fix it. You might replace that with sharing or offering or supporting or encouraging. It's all where you're coming from. Everything's about intention and about energy.
Yeah, and actually, Alan, I had a question myself, and I think it will continue from what you just answered. So, this topic is teach only love. And we do sometimes experience, let's say we are facilitating a study group or a seminar or leading a series, and let's say 20 people have signed up and they've paid up, they've signed up, and let's say only 15 come, 5 can't make it. And a lot of the times I've seen that few people are very interactive and few are not. Can we trust that they are still getting the message? Can we trust that if the intention is to teach love, that it's being touched somewhere in some way and not bother about what's going to happen?
Sure. The ego is concerned about numbers. The ego counts people in the room. The ego counts income. Not that you shouldn't have people in the room or income, but the ego counts who showed up and who didn't. The ego counts who agrees with you and who doesn't. That's all ego. Spirit says, I will offer my message, I will offer my gift, and I trust that all the right people show up. I once was invited to do a lecture in Seattle, and the promoters did not do a good job. And there were only a couple dozen people showed up. They were looking for hundreds. A few people showed up. And I was kind of bummed. And I thought, what did I come all the way to Seattle for? They did a good job, blah, 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 blah. And there was a musical group that was coming on before my presentation, a guy and his wife. And I'm sitting off the stage, why did more people show up? And they ran on stage and they sang and they danced and they got the audience clapping and laughing and interacting. And you think they were playing to the London Palladium. You think they had an audience of thousands. I think they were the Beatles at Shea Stadium. And I thought, wow, those people did not mitigate their performance because they had a smaller group. And I learned from those people that, you give 1,000%, whether you have 6 people in front of you or 6,000. because it's not the number of bodies. The ego is preoccupied with numbers of bodies. The spirit could care less what bodies are doing. The spirit is offering spiritual energy, and it's going out into the universe, and the people who are open to it will receive it, and the people who are not will receive something else, and it's all perfect. There's no pressure. It's not about counting or proselytizing or gathering. So, the Course also says when you perform a miracle, when you do an act of love, it may go on to touch thousands of people that you never heard of. Wow. So just remember, are we talking about bodies here? Or are we talking about energy? Ego's all about bodies, spirit's all about energy.
Intention. Yes, thank you, Alan. So we have our Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous. Mr. or Miss Anonymous ask, how I struggle to trust my own guidance and I feel stuck in a loop of seeking outside of myself. Any recommendation how I can start trusting my guidance?
By acting on it. I heard about a woman who had a nervous breakdown, and she wanted to get away from her life as it was. And so she rented a cabin in the woods. And she said, I will just go there and I will do only what I feel guided to do. I will listen inside for guidance. So the first day, the voice said, lay on the floor, naked. So she just laid on the floor naked. It was summertime. Next day, the voice said, dance. So she got up and danced. Next day, the voice said, walk in the woods. Then at 2:00, it said, come back. And so she did this experiment where I think she was there for a couple of weeks. All she did at any given moment was tune in onto what she felt was the best guidance she could tap into. And one thing led to the next, to the next, to the next. And by the end of the 2 weeks, her life was a fluent, magnificent, divinely orchestrated dance of guidance, because she had gotten so in touch with that inner voice, and she had proven its value by acting on it and getting positive results, that now she developed a rock solid relationship with her guides. It was like she had opened up the channel, she had tapped into that reservoir, and the water was flowing. And she was healed. Her nervous breakdown was no more. And she went back and she actually became a therapist. And she began to teach people how to listen to their guidance. So how do you improve your guidance? You act on what you think is your guidance, and you see how it works out. And almost all the time, it'll work out perfectly. And even if it didn't seem to work out perfectly, there'd be a really good lesson. So you act on what you think is your guidance and let the universe give you feedback.
Thank you, Alan. Alan, Kevin has a note of gratitude for you. He says that he just thanks you for all your webinars, and since the lockdown more so, in one of the webinars you had attached a quote which said, kindness will get us through this. And there has been so much positive feedback from people. So he would just like to thank you a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And one last question.
Okay.
It's kind of a big one, but Alan, you can offer a beginning point. Chris asks, how will I ever recognize my purpose?
It's revealed to you step by step. We think my purpose is to be a world savior or a president of the United States or a great minister. That's all fine, could be part of it. But your only purpose really is to be the light right where you stand. And so if you can go into a supermarket, Dee and I walked our dogs in the park the other day. And it's a big, very big open air park. And most people walk their dogs without masks because it's, people are very far apart and it's nature. And there was this one lady who was very afraid and she was walking her dog at a pretty good distance from us. She says, please look in the other direction. And she started covering herself, and she was very fearful. And Tina and I had a little reaction. Come on, lady. Well, nobody else has a mask. I was way outdoors. So there's no chance whatsoever for people to contaminate each other at this distance in the open air. And I realized that she was calling for love. So as she passed me, I went like this. I don't think I really needed to, but I wanted to respect her wishes because she was in fear. And if me going like this for the 10 seconds she passed me would reduce her fear, then I was happy to do it. So that's a very sort of earthy example of in that moment, my purpose was to be a light by being kind to her and not go into fear myself. Part of me thought, oh, maybe I should be wearing my mask. Maybe I should be afraid like she is. But I said, nah, that's not really what it is. So in the moment I chose peace, I was living my purpose. So whoever asked the question, the real simple answer is, how do you know your purpose? Just keep choosing peace. That's your purpose. That's your purpose. Let me say this. That's your purpose. That, your purpose is not to do anything. Your purpose is to be what you are. And today's lesson is teach only love, for that is what you are. So when you're loving, and love equals peace, love equals joy, it's all the same. When you're at peace, you are teaching only love, and you're living your purpose. And that's all any of us are here to do. Everything else is commentary. Everything else is detail. Most other stuff is distraction. But if you could just wake up and say, okay, God, I have one prayer today. Please just help me to be peaceful throughout this day. I don't care what happens. If I can just go to bed tonight and look back on my day and realize I kept my peace as much as possible. Maybe I lost it a little bit, but if I kept coming back to peace today, that was a really good day. That was the day I was born to live. And if I could be even a little more peaceful tomorrow, oh, what a wonderful day that will be. Okay, I'm onto it now. I am here to be the light of the world. It had nothing to do with my body size or my marital status or my bank book. Here just to be the light of the world. If I can do it, ooh, okay, done deal. God stamps you, done. You got it, dude. You're all over it. Okay, I want to say a little prayer, and then we'll you want to get Karen's video ready, Nishant? Can you do that?
Yeah, it's all ready. It's all ready.
Speaking of healing, this is my book, The Master Keys of Healing. It's everything we're talking about and more. It's available on Amazon. And then a quick reminder that our life coach training is starting January 1st. It's a transformational program for coaches and clients, reminding you how to be the light of the world as a coach or as a business person who's including coaching, how to be a light in your family, and how to inspire and empower other people to become lights themselves. I can't say enough powerful things about this program. It has changed my life. It's changed lots of people's lives. If you'd like to play with me for 6 months, starting January 1st, please go to my website. It's almost full. It was full. We had a couple of cancellations from international travelers, so we can fit a couple more people in. So if you'd like to play with me intensively and intimately for 6 months, please show up and go to my website, alancohen.com. Nishant, thank you very much. It's always a blessing to be with you. I appreciate your support. Karen Drucker, who's with us silently today, but now she's going to sing and share. So let's watch Karen's video and we'll close after that. You make it full screen, yeah.
When you're losing your way, when it's too much to take, when your will is broken, I'm here can be your shelter, be your safe place to land. When your heart feels empty, I'm here. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. And love always finds a way. Love always finds a way. If the future's unknown and the path's overgrown, I will cradle your soul. Don't fear. Don't fear. Though you don't have the answers, may not know where to go, but what you need is inside you. Just trust, and you'll know. You'll know. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. And love always finds a way. Love always finds a way. I'm your light in the storm. I'm your call to come home. I'm your beacon of hope. You can count on me. You can count on me. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. And love always finds a way. Love always finds a way. I know it's gonna be okay. Love always finds a way. I know it's gonna be okay. Love always finds a way. Love will always find a way. Love always finds a way. It's gonna be okay. Love always finds a way. Hold my hand, it's gonna be okay. Love